Hey everyone. I've been wanting to do this particular talk episode of the 63 podcast since November of last year, and I've just had a lot going on. That's actually why you haven't seen a lot of podcast videos out there. I have so much going on. I kind of burn the candle at both ends on a very regular basis. Anyways, what inspired this conversation was a trip down to Atlanta last year in November with my wife and I. We went down to a trade show called the FabTech Expo. And what that is, just so that you're up on understanding what I'm talking about, it's a fabrication expo for manufacturing of all levels, whether it be somebody like me who does welding and fabrication in my own shop at home, or it be a multi-million dollar company or multi-billion dollar company. Um, they're showcasing and selling products for that whole gamut. Now, a lot of what's in there is targeting the multi-million dollar, multi-billion dollar companies in this world, but I wanted to see it regardless. So I first became exposed to this show and learning about it through YouTubers. So I follow a ton of people who do automotive related channels, fabrication related channels, machinists, creators in general, right? And not content creators like they actually, I guess on YouTube the term that they like to use is makers, people that are making things. Um, I got exposure to them and have always wanted to go down to this, and a lot of YouTubers frequent it. So, which I was, initially I was like, it'd be cool to run into a few of these guys, but I'm not a fan like that. Um, I don't want to insult anybody, but the kind of groupie, like, oh my god, I got to meet such and such thing, is not me. Okay. There's definitely famous people in this world that I admire a great deal, and meeting them in person would be awesome. But over the years, I'm not a spring chicken. I'm 45 years old. I've been involved in photography, motorsports, marketing of some level, being exposed to radio personalities and you know musicians, models. I'm I'm well beyond that. I'm very well aware that these are all regular people. Doesn't matter how much you see them. Doesn't matter how much you admire them. How hot you think they are, or how successful you think they are. They're normal, everyday people. Okay, and it's important, I think, as fans or supporters of these people, to bring it down a level. Bring it down a level and realize that these are normal people. But I'm going to say this, and I'm not saying it to be insulting to anybody, but I'm just going to say this. There was a very obvious um, way that the YouTubers, or at least a very specific group of YouTubers, were carrying themselves around the FabTech Expo. It was kind of like, look at me, I'm famous. They showed up with their shtick, their image, what everybody sees on YouTube or the social media websites, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be. They showed up with that, right? Which I get it, I understand it. It's marketing. These guys are in business. They make money off of this, especially the full timers, and so I'm not knocking them. I'm really not. But here's what I'm going to say. Um, I didn't show up for that. I showed up to FabTech because I'm genuinely fascinated by machinery and equipment. There's a number of things that I'm in the market for that I wanted to see in person, that I have no other way of seeing all these things in person before. There was some people that I wanted to meet, some that I have known through business relationships for a long time, and some that I've just admired the products that they put out to the public that I wanted to meet. And then there was a number of companies there that I just wanted to see their products in person, right? So, um, as far as like running into potential fans or running into potential other YouTubers, that was secondary at best. To be perfectly honest with you, I saw a number of them that I actively follow. All I had to d I'm within 2, 3 feet of these guys. All I had to do was walk up and introduce myself, shake their hand, "Oh, yeah," and pull the typical, "Can I take a selfie with you?" It was that easy, but I just chose not to. Um, I don't know why. There's something about me, I guess probably because I've been exposed to that many bigger names, and the fact that I realize these are regular people, that I try not to feed into those personalities. Um, I don't know why, I choose not to. You're a regular person. If I choose to have a friendship with you, I want you to bring that personality down, and I want to have that relationship with you as genuine friendship as possible. And that goes for businesses too. And the reasoning behind this video. So, um, to back up a little bit, when I was at some of these booths, and what I was noticing is that when I was looking at products that I was actually interested in purchasing, or whether I was at a booth where I was talking to the owners and just meeting people, um, I noticed that the YouTubers were showing up to these booths and introducing themselves as YouTubers, and it was almost in all situations where you notice that the representative from these companies, it was like somebody pulled the plug and started letting the air out of them. Like, I'm trying to sell product here. I'm trying to, get a relationship with these people with actual money that are trying to manufacture stuff and do big things. And I got a YouTuber in front of me trying to get a freebie. That's almost exactly what it felt like, right? And I get it. I also get the idea that, as a YouTuber, you're bringing to the table exposure to these companies, and it's that holds value, right? Um, but here's where I'm gonna draw the line. Okay, if you're talking about a company, a massive corporation, with a likelihood that the CEO is involved in the company in any way, shape, or form other than doing CEO stuff, I get it. I get it. You're dealing with Lincoln Electric, Miller, you know, whoever it may be that are these massive, massive companies. I get it. Sell the shit out of yourself, get that relationship, make them pay for everything that you're bringing to the table. But I wasn't there to make friends with those people. Okay. The companies where I wanted to shake hands with people were smaller, much, much smaller. Everlast, um, Oleg, the owner over there, and Mark. He's not the owner of Everlast. I don't even actually know his official position with them, but I've been working with him and being a friend of his for a very, very long time. And Oleg, I've had a relationship with him for 2012, October of 2012, I think is when I got my first welder from him. I wanted to meet Bob over at JD Squared and look at whatever equipment he brought there in person. I've seen it online so much that I wanted to see it in person. I wanted to be able to compare it with other machines that I've seen and just know the level of product he's bringing to the table, like know it in person, be comfortable and familiar with it other than just looking at photographs. And like I said, and to meet that man in person, he's very passionate about his company. He's very passionate about the products. He's always involved in it. And I appreciate that. I really do. I admire it. Um, those were namely the two companies that I knew for sure were going to be out there that I wanted to meet people with. Jason, he's a YouTuber over at Fireball Tools. That's his company. He produces a number of products that I wanted to see in person. I wasn't so much um, keen on shaking hands with him and meeting him in person for two reasons. I think if the booth wasn't that active with YouTubers, I would have probably done so. But for lack of a better description, and I don't mean this to be insulting to anybody, but it just seemed like there was a congregation of YouTubers at his booth and near his booth that was like a circle jerk of egos. And I'm not saying any particular person had that. It's just kind of an energy that was there. And it was really off putting to me. Like I said, being around a lot of people in the public industry, very public people. I don't want to say famous people because some of these people aren't famous or maybe locally famous. Some of them are legitimately famous, but the point is being personalities, these public figures, being around them, I see their flaws, I see their character. They're normal people. They're as normal as the homeless person to the business owner down the road. They're all the same. They all have the same quirks and personality traits and things like that. A little bit different depending on the person, but it's all base level. Nobody's up here. Okay. Um, so when I see that kind of, again, lack of a better description, circle jerk going on, I don't want to be involved in it. The reason I don't want to be involved in it is because I want my friendships to be as genuine as possible. I've cut ties with a lot of people that were involved in the personality industry, that famous type thing, over the years because I just there's a level of disingenuous nature there and just ugliness there that I can't be involved with. It's very toxic and you're selling something that's just not real, and that's not who I am. I'm as real as they come. What you see here in front of you is how I behave all the time, with the exception of I'm having a serious conversation with you, and a lot of the times I'm talking shit and being gross and crude, and it's fun. um, but anyways, so I didn't want to be involved in that stuff, so I just kind of wanted to see Jason's products that he had out there and compare it to other things on the market, and I have to say I was extremely impressed, and I bought some things from him recently. I'm going to be buying more stuff from him in the future, and very impressed. These companies that were there that are on the smaller level, where the owners of the companies are very much involved in it, they remind me of my company or people that I know that own companies. Eric over at Monster Line or Frank over at Spark Robotic or Frank over at Rourke Supply or Mike over at the Tacoma Company. These are companies that I've worked with over the years. I've got local people that you probably don't hear about, mechanic friends and stuff like that. These are all hands-on owners and they're heavily involved in their business, and I appreciate it. They're no different than myself. They're no different than my boss at my day job. They're involved in it. There's something different there than when you're dealing with massive corporations, right? So when I become friends with those people, I have to understand that where they're at. And as somebody who's involved in social media and the publication of video and audio content on the internet, I understand that when I give somebody a plug, that it comes with a value. Um, but I also have to understand that these companies, these smaller companies that I personally choose to rather work with than these big major corporations, what they're giving to me also comes with a value. And in friendships, it should never be a one-sided thing. Okay? It should always be, in my opinion, a friendship should always be from the individual that's on one side or the other of the friendship should be, how can I help you? You're my friend. I want you to succeed. I want you to grow. I want you to do great things. I want you to become the best person that you could possibly be and be as successful in anything that you do because I'm your friend and I care about you, right? So understanding that's my mentality when it comes to friends, I also have to take that same energy into relationships with small businesses where I consider these owners friends. I want them to succeed. I admire what they're doing. I want them to continue to develop products. And with that, I have to take a step back and say, what am I here for? Am I here for a discount? Am I here for a hookup, a freebie? What am I here? Or am I here to support this company and support my friend? And that was something that being at FabTech made me open my eyes to. I've always had it there, but it just made me realize how important it is. And seeing the circle jerk, I apologize if that's coming off as insulting. I just don't know how else to describe that off the top of my head. The circle jerk and seeing the companies, the owners of these companies that are actively involved in them, pushing their product, trying to sell their product. This is their livelihoods on the line, right? Everything that they have going on for them is invested in these companies, and they're pushing to try to make them grow and be as successful as possible. And they're no different than I am with my company, or my boss is with his company, or my mechanic friends, or whoever they may be. They're no different from them. And putting that in perspective makes me realize that it's not okay for me to go to those people and expect the same relationship that I would expect from a massive corporation. And I don't know how many of the people, the YouTubers that were there, have put that into perspective. Um, when I'm dealing with Everlast, for instance, I know that they sell machines all over the world. Everlast isn't actually building the machines like Frank over at Spark Robotics is, or like Bob over at JD Squared is, but they're putting a lot of effort into bringing people like me the best product that they can find, that they can get manufactured at prices that are fair for us and make them a profit and help make their company successful. And Frank over at Rourke Supply, he's not manufacturing anything. He's a supplier. He's finding the products, he's rebranding the products, and he's getting them to people like myself. And I've known him for a long time. I've tested out a lot of products for him that you guys never even knew about. He would send me boxes and boxes and boxes of cutoff wheels and flap discs, and I would just sit there and go to town on it, destroying angle grinders, just beating the hell out of this stuff, so that I could report back to him and say, hey, this is what I thought about this one, this one, this one, this one. This is what I noticed. Here's some things, and just giving him my feedback in exchange for that. I was getting lots of product that I can use in my shop, and there was a business relationship on that part. Is that worth money? Was I putting in more work than the product that was being sent to me? I don't know. You know why? Because I never bothered to calculate my time on it, because I saw what he was doing and I saw him as a friend, and it was more about, I didn't feel like I was being taken advantage of, and I didn't feel like I was taking advantage of him. And that's kind of where it comes down to. So the whole experience at FabTech made me realize that my relationship with these smaller companies, these smaller businesses, needs to be a friendship. I need to be able to feel like I'm not taking advantage of them, and I need to feel like they're not taking advantage of me. Um, I'm saving one particular individual for last that I want to talk about. So I hope if he's listening to this, he doesn't feel like I've ignored that meeting and relationship during this trip. His name is Eric. He is the owner of a company called Magnet Paints. He creates a product called Chassis Saver. Another product that I've used is called Monster Liner. It's a roll-on, spray-on bed liner for trucks, but it can be used for many, many different applications. He makes commercial industrial paints. Yeah, he makes paints. He makes finishes. And he is located in Alabama now. He used to be in New York. When I first met him, he was in New York. And my relationship with him goes all the way back to 2013. For those that follow me outside of this podcast that you're watching, you know that my 1991 Nissan Pathfinder is all done in Monster Liner product. It's all painted in it, and it's very unique looking. It stands out in a crowd, and a lot of people really like it. And I've been friends with Eric for since, like I said, since 2013. Not just business friends, but just like genuine friends. I wasn't sure if I was going to have time to make it into Alabama because this was a week-long trip. We head down from New York. We stopped at Spark Robotic before the trade show, which is in Mars Hill, North Carolina. And then from there, that very same day after I met with them, I headed down into Atlanta, um, had some dinner, went to the aquarium, and then did the trade show the following day, rushed through it. It's enormous. It's normally not a one-day deal, but my thought process after day one was, I think I can do this, or during day one was, I think I can do this all in one shot. And if I can, then we can make it into Alabama and meet up with Eric if he was available. I didn't contact him before it, didn't tell him I was going to come down there, but in the back of my mind was, I need to figure out how to schedule this in. I wanted to go see his facility. I wanted to just say hello and give him a hug, a handshake, and, we're still friends. A visit. So that's what we ended up doing. So the day after the first day of the trade show, which the trade show was 3 days, I gave that day to my wife. We traveled around Atlanta area, went to the zoo, went to a few things. So it wasn't just all about me for the trip. Explored some things out there, and then the following day our Airbnb was up, and we decided, let's start heading west into Alabama and see what that's all about on our way up to go to visit Eric. So Eric is an amazing guy. He creates a really good product. He's as genuine as they come. He's a normal human being. He's not filthy rich. I would venture to say that he's not rich at all, but he's been in business for a very, very long time, and he spends a significant amount of time developing products, testing products, and what's involved with the nature of his business, especially through COVID, has been extremely difficult for him. And from a distance, before I had gone to see his facility in person and see what some of the things that he had been struggling with because of COVID and supply chain issues and stuff like that, I had seen a lot of people on social media saying some pretty nasty stuff about his company and what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And they just didn't fully understand the scope of what was happening here. I believe that it is the responsibility of business friendships for the people involved. If you really care about these companies and you know how hard they're trying, and you know they're not trying to rip anybody off, and you know that the products are solid, that they're really trying to put out a quality product for their customers, that's where that friendship comes into play. And I believe it's important for people like myself and other YouTubers and other people in general, whether it just be your friend, to say, hey, no, that's not what's happening here. These are stand-up individuals. They have good products. They're trying, and they're going to do you right. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be issues, but I'm going to support them, and I'm going to keep pushing people towards them because they're my friend, and I want them to succeed for nothing more than I want everybody who I consider a friend, the people that surround me, to be successful. Why? Because I don't want to surround myself with people that are not. It's toxic. So if I can build that network of friends that are solid and genuine, that are trying to grow and trying to do great things, and we all support each other, we're all going to do great things. And when we choose to give our buddy a discount or be like, don't worry about it, here, I'm going to do this for you, or I'm going to send you this, it should be on our terms as the person supplying the gift, and it should never be accepted as expected, I guess is a better way to say it. When I go to Everlast, when the time comes to order in a couple more welders from them, I'm not going into that conversation expecting anything from them other than the product that I pay for, and the friendship. Um, and it's tough because it's a thing where, look, I get it. If we can get a discount, man, it sure fucking feels nice to be able to do that. And whether it be, you go to your buddy who's got a restaurant and that guy tell you don't worry about it, it's on me. I got a neighbor down the road who does he's got a product called Bacon Bomb, and he does fairs and carnivals and stuff like that. He's a food vendor. I went to his booth because I've had his food because we had some sort of relationship where he gave me some food on trade for me helping him out with something, but I had never had his fair food before. And when we went to the New York State Fair, I stopped at his booth with every intention on paying full price for it. And I didn't even know where he was at, to be honest with you. Didn't matter. I was there to try his food and support his company rather than going to the guy next to him or the one down the pathway. Um, while I was placing my order, he walked up and told the individual, "Don't worry about it. I got him. Just take care of him." I didn't expect that, and I accepted it, but I didn't expect it. And when I was done, he went to the back and continued working. I made sure that I found my way around, and I waited to get a chance to talk to him because he was wicked busy, and I showed him my appreciation for what he did because he didn't have to do that. We're only talking, what was it, like $25, $30 worth of food. It's not, it's not like he handed me $2,000 machine or something like that, but it doesn't matter. The point that he did that as a friend is something to be appreciated, and you should never be taken advantage of. And when you're trying to support your friends that are also business owners, you should be trying to pay them what it is that they ask for, especially if you're in the market for something. If I know that I'm getting ready to paint a vehicle and I want a product, a bed liner type product on this vehicle like Monster Liner sells, how much of a dick do I have to be to go to Eric over at Monster Liner and expect a discount? If he don't give me a discount, then I go off to some other competitor and buy their product. That's fucked up. Even if his product is a little bit more expensive or a lot more expensive, is that cool? Do you as an individual find a way to justify that in your mind? And if so, how? And maybe it's time to take a step back and say, I shouldn't do that. And the reason why I say that is because, are you in the relationship? Are you in the friendship? Or let me rewind this. Are you involved in this relationship for resources or for genuine friendships? Is basically what I need to get at. And I'm not a disingenuous person by any stretch of the imagination. And when I consider somebody a friend, they're a friend. And until they do something to me that really hurts and shows me that they're not the person that I thought they were, I'm gonna be a good friend to that person. So, anyways, long-winded conversation about that, but I did want to talk about that subject. If you guys made it this far into it, let me know what you guys think in the comments. This isn't to stir up anything. This isn't to insult anybody. It's simply there to as food for thought. It's something that has been kicking around inside of my head, especially now as I'm currently working on some restructuring of Alvarez Metalworks and Uvision Media, and kicking around a lot of paperwork and a lot of stuff on the back end that you guys will never see. Um, I realize how important it is to have those solid friends that are not going to be looking for anything in return from me, that they just want to support me as a business owner and support my endeavors, and I want to return the same to them. Yeah, I'm not going to go further with this. So Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Tell me about your experiences with stuff like that. And yeah, talk to you guys later.